Hey, it's Don Skaggs again with Empowered Inventing, the place where we try to help you take your idea and your innovation and turn it into something real, like a real product or a real business that actually makes money in the marketplace. So, I want to ask you a question. I throw out a lot of these questions with the videos, and something I want you to ponder, that I want to talk about it a little bit. And the question today is, what speed is your idea or your startup traveling at? Because I'll see usually through the process, and we all go through both parts of this process, you feel like things are just moving at a snail's pace. And I'm not talking about you not moving, because you need to be constantly moving. You need to have, again, the being around people and acquiring that wisdom and doing that diligence, being diligent about what you're doing in the process and going through your steps. You need to be diligent about that. But I'm not talking about that part today. What I'm talking about is when circumstances, when the development of your idea, your startup, and you're moving as hard and as fast as you can, you're doing all the things that you can do, but it still feels like nothing is moving very fast. It might be moving, but you just feel like everything's going at a snail's pace. Now, other times during the startup's life, or the small business's life, or even your idea to invention to product's life, it can move so fast. It's like at a blinding speed that you can't keep up with. You feel like you're just hanging on for dear life, and the thing is just flying down the road. And that can be good, but it can also be very, very daunting, scary, and sometimes even a little dangerous. And you have to be careful. But you're going to have both of those speeds that'll happen, no matter where you are. We've got a lot of things going on right now with Empowered Inventing. We're adding on new things all the time. So sometimes it's like when we're in the building process and everything just seems like it's taking forever, and then sometimes things are just moving so fast we can't keep up with it. We can't get to the next thing we want to because everything else is just got us all filled up. And that happens with inventors and entrepreneurs. It really does. So the climate for whether it's there's opportunity out there, or if it's if it's a good times or bad times, notwithstanding. When things start happening all at once, it can just be hard to keep up with all the new information that you keep getting. And it's either feast or famine. So one thing I want you to keep in mind is just, number one, just to stay the course, just to stay with it. Don't get overwhelmed when it's moving too fast and think, I just can't do this. This is too much for me. This is too big. Just take a breath. Take it one step at a time, stay with the process, and you'll be okay. If it's going too slow and you're just getting frustrated, just remember, at some point it is going to pick up. It's going to pick up rather fast. Now I'm not talking about where, it's just so slow and nothing's happening and you're not trying to, figure out whether you need to pivot or not. And that's a step of the process, one of the things we teach. But you want to be sure that you are... You just don't get dismayed at that and say, this is going nowhere, or you get bored and wander off. That happens so many times to inventors and entrepreneurs. Oh yeah, I'm kind of bored with this now. It's just not moving fast enough for me. I'm going to go do this other thing. And the problem is then you have like 20 different new things started that all just stop. And because you've got too much you're trying to push at one time. You get one thing, you get focused with it, you make sure it's a good thing, and then you push it. You give it that focused push, and it moves on. And then the other ones can follow later. So, anyway, I can remember one place I was at one time where it was just like, I was just stuck. I was stuck, and it had to do with one component to this one product. This one component just kept stymieing me. And I couldn't figure out what to do about it, and it was just like I was just running in place. But I was patient, and I stayed with it. Patience is a very important thing to have in this process. So you stay patient with it. Now, I wanted to be frustrated, And sometimes I just wanted to just chuck it and go do something else, but I didn't, because I knew that this had potential. And then finally, in the most unlikely of places, I found the solution. I found the part, the component that went into this that made it work better than I would have ever imagined had I not waited and had the patience for that one component, that one right piece to fall into place. Now, again, I'm not saying don't make the product development process a 10-year thing. That is not what I'm saying. But I'm saying, let's say it's not moving tomorrow fast enough for you, or next week fast enough for you, or next month fast enough for you, then you might have to just have some patience with it. Patience to think it through, patience to do the right work. Don't just sit around and wait for it to rain, make it rain. And wait for that right piece. That right piece will eventually fall into place, or it'll fall into place where you'll think, oh yeah, I hadn't thought about doing that, and if I hadn't been chewing on this long enough, I wouldn't have gotten to this part. So, you know, and another inventor had reminded me, inventor entrepreneur reminded me the other day about just the frustration of not getting the traction they were wanting with the progress of their startup. But sometimes it just takes time. It just, again, we don't microwave ideas around here. We use slow cookers. But we don't use 10-year-long slow cookers either. We use slow cookers that just take a little bit longer than a microwave. You know, not 10 years. This isn't, we're not making wine here. So anyway, but if you're waiting for the right thing, it will come along. But you just have to be patient with it. And again, some of this is the learning process. You know, you're not just you're just not building a prototype. You're not just building a product that's fitting into the marketplace. You're building yourself. This is kind of a tandem process, because you're building your idea or your startup, but you're also building yourself, because you are learning and you are growing. When you get to that place where your startup is launching a new product, or you're signing a licensing deal, there was all of this that you went through to get from there to here, through those idea steps of like we teach and talk about. And through that process, you have gained something much, much more valuable than any kind of money you'll get from a licensing deal or ROI from a product launch and a startup. And that is the wisdom, because wisdom, just like the old proverb says, is more valuable than gold, because that is something you can take and replicate as many times as you want, because now you own the wisdom. You know what to do, when to do it, and how to do it. You own it, and you can repeat it as many times as you want. It's more important of what goes on in here than what goes on out here. That's important what goes on out there, but they both grow. So don't lose touch with that fact, because that's very, very important for your inventor. So whether you're moving at a slow pace right now, or you're moving so fast you can't even catch your breath, just remember, stay with it, stay the course, and it'll be all right. And by the way, when you're dealing with people, be good to everybody, because everybody in some way or at some time or in some special way of their own life, everybody's having a tough time in one way or another. So yeah, I think that's a great thing to pass on, both in business and in life. So again, I'm Don Skaggs. This is Empowered Inventing TV. EmpoweredInventing.com is our website. Please be sure and check us out there if there's anything additional you need. And we will look to see you at one of our next online meetings, or in-person meetings, or one of our in-person workshops, or one of our online classes, or maybe we'll just see you at the next video.